Welcome to The Healing Life. I'm Amanda. This podcast is for people committed to healing, not as a finish line, but as a way of living. Every episode, we talk honestly about what it actually looks like to keep choosing healing as life unfolds. When things get better, when they get harder, and when another layer shows up. Let's get into it. My guest today is Elle, the artist behind Elle Em Art and a female body acceptance advocate. Elle and I have been friends for over 12 years, and this conversation got real pretty fast. I hope you feel like you're sitting right here chatting with us as you listen. Elle, thank you so much for taking time to be here today and have this conversation. I'm so excited and also kind of nervous. I feel like this episode is going to push me in some ways that I need to be pushed. I learned so much from you and your work, so thank you for being here and for sharing your expertise with my listeners today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to talk all the things.
Elle and I have been friends for over 12 years. We've gone through a lot of life together. Our bodies have gone through a lot of life in that time. And I know for me, at least, like the process of aging and how bodies shift has been a journey for me that a lot of times I don't know how to handle. And I don't know what to think. And I don't always know how to orient to my body. I know for me, at least, how I view bodies now is very different than how I viewed my body and everyone's bodies growing up. I definitely was shaped by diet culture, by nothing tastes as good as skinny feels culture. And I think one of the most important healing journeys I've gone on in my 30s specifically is around removing that judgment and reorienting myself to bodies. All bodies are good bodies. That is something that I believe now that I definitely didn't when I was younger. And so I'm wondering if you've gone through a similar journey of changing how you view bodies, yours and other people's.
Yeah. So, having grown up in a cult, there was so much shame around specifically the woman's body and how the woman had to, maintain a certain appearance and maintain certain looks and modesty. And there was so much taboo about being a woman and having that body. And so I think for me, breaking through all of that and like learning about the female body, learning about the differences of each body and how that beauty that they're not all the same. And like you said, every body is a good body. Just breaking down all of those lies that we were told growing up and just seeing the body as like such a beautiful thing and human thing and how each person experiences their body in a different way. I think it's amazing.
I think that if Amanda from 10 years ago saw Amanda today, she would not think that her body is a good body. She would probably have a lot of judgment for the body that I reside in now 10 years down the road, and a lot of medical issues and hormonal fluctuations. And I think that that has been startling for me to realize, but here's something I'm proud of. It's actually opened up a new capacity within me for grace and acceptance and understanding and nuance and just a willingness to be dynamic in my thinking and adjust. And I feel like I am a kinder person to myself and others for having gone through body fluctuations. And I think even further complicating everything is as we're learning, as the Epstein files, well, they aren't continuing to be released, but from what we've seen, how pedophilia shaped culture and how it shaped the standards of adult female beauty. And we're all supposed to look prepubescent.
That's been a tough thing for me to, I guess, accept as all of this like realization has come out and kind of gotten to the forefront of the conversation. It's been hard because I'm like, oh my gosh, like that's it's like it's been in our face the whole time and we didn't even realize it.
Yeah.
It's been a tough pill to swallow.
Yeah. I feel like that moment when that clicked for me, that pedophilia shaped the beauty standards I grew up with, like I changed that day. I I stopped doing so many things. Like I stopped straightening my hair. I have naturally curly hair. I have not touched my hair with a straightener since the revelation that pedophilia shaped the culture. And I've been like forcing my body into standards that came from people I detest. And I've been embracing more of my body in its natural form, like even down to my eyebrows. I stopped tweezing them. And now I'm doing the Amelia Clark thing, like don't tweeze your brows, trust your brows. And
That.
I stopped dyeing all of the gray out of my hair. I still
Yes.
dry, I dye a little bit because there's a lot and I'm not quite ready to go all the way in, but I'm like
It's a
becoming very
process.
attached to some of my gray slash white hairs in here. And I just like it was the same day for
Yeah.
me. I found it so revolting and disgusting just to sit with the reality of what shaped what I think is pretty.
Yeah. I think aging is so beautiful. I found a big patch of gray hair overnight and it looks like glitter in my hair and I love it. And
Aww.
the crow, what are the crow feet? Is that what
Yeah,
they're
like
called?
the little
The smile.
crinkles.
Yeah. Love them. And I love seeing it on other women.
I know that men do some things, and some men like dye their hair or dye the gray out of their beards, but oh my gosh, men get sexier as they get older in our culture, and women disappear by 40, you know?
Yeah.
Right when they actually get interesting. We get interesting at like we have enough life experience. Women in their 40s are badass bitches.
Yes.
And their 50s and
100%
60s. Like,
agree.
I'm excited for this. And we celebrate it in men. We celebrate how the male body ages. Silver fox.
Mhm.
In a way that women, you know, were shamed for the
Or
natural
called old
progression
hag or
of time.
something.
Yeah. Yeah, it's ridiculous. And that's before we even get to body size.
Yes.
That's just the tax you pay for existing in a female identified body.
It's infuriating, but that's why we're here, you and I, to change that
Yes.
narrative.
So we're working on it. But then when it comes to the female body that is not within current beauty standards as it pertains to size, I think that that is another layer of harm and trauma that we inflict on women in particular. And I could go on and on and on about how there are so many male celebrities who live in fat bodies. And I say that not as fat is not a bad word, it is an adjective, who are celebrated for everything they are and how awesome they are and how funny they are and how well they played that role. And then you have a woman in a fat body who kicks ass and takes names, and all the media wants to do is focus on, you know, the fact that she should definitely drop some pounds. Like, what are your thoughts on existing as a woman, like women who exist in fat bodies, and you layer all of these different pieces on it, like aging and disability and all of these other things that are stigmatized? How are women supposed to exist in this world?
Your defiance.
Yes.
There's no other way. There's no other way to exist other than just through pure defiance towards these beauty standards. And when you talked about Hollywood or celebrities, with that comparison of males in a bigger body and versus females, you look at the ones who are married. And I would even, I guess, extrapolate that to the church. Once again, the cult that we grew up in, I know in the cult I grew up in, there were very large bodied men with these petite women, and they would preach from the pulpit how, women needed to be skinny. And it's like, what about the men? Like the contradicting standards are plenty in that space. And like you said, we could go on about that. But yeah, the expectation for a female to exist in a larger body, and then you add aging and disabilities and all the other categories, there's no other way to live except through just ignoring all the beauty standards and finding a way to accept your body, love your body, and heal from those lies. Like I keep calling them lies because it's just what it is.
And that acceptance piece, I think, is kind of the heart of this. I know that there's like body positivity, body neutrality, body acceptance, things like that. There are people in different camps. I think some of the camps can kind of overlap. But where do you land and how do you define it?
They say you can't have body accept or body positivity without body acceptance. I believe in body positivity, but it's not going to be practical 100% of the time. I think body acceptance is something that you can sustain long term.
I love that. I love thinking about it through a lens of sustainability. I think I land in the neutrality to acceptance camp because I find that to be more sustainable for me. So I love that point that you're making. There are so many days that I can't show up and love my body, but I can show up and accept my body. I can show up and feel neutral about my
Yes.
body. And I think that especially when I was going through eating disorder recovery, that was one of the things that I held on to. This concept that our bodies are the least interesting thing about us. And I can, on most days, accept or feel neutral about my body. I cannot love my body on all days. Some days I do, and
Yes.
that's really nice. And some days I can feel positive about my body, and that's really
Mhm.
nice. I also live with a very disabled and broken body. So at times I don't know how much of it is like how my body looks or how my body feels that I'm struggling with. So I found that in addition to how my body has changed in its appearance, body neutrality and body acceptance has also helped me handle my disabilities, which was unexpected and a really nice kind of cherry on the top in terms of my healing process, at least from the eating disorder.
I didn't even mention body neutrality, but yeah, body neutrality and body acceptance to me are like hand in hand because as I've also been experiencing more health issues, I have found myself more in the neutrality, which to me is like, I don't want to say this advice works for everybody, but for me, it is looking in the mirror and just being like, okay, this is my body for the day. How can we treat it in a way that makes her comfortable as she
Yeah.
can be today? Body acceptance to me is like, okay, it's the way my body is looking and that's okay, which is very similar to body neutrality. Body positivity is like, I'm loving my body. It's perfect. It's worthy the way it is. And no one can tell me anything else. And obviously, that's not sustainable every single day. And that's just my personal and brief descriptions of each one.
And I think something that's really interesting about what you just said is that we know that even women who live in bodies that fall within societal beauty standards currently, they can struggle with body positivity. And I think that that's because of how society constantly nitpicks women's bodies. It's a prize you can never win. It's a race with no finish line. You can't win
They always move the
with
bar.
yes. It's a moving target. You can never just be done. You can never just rest. And I think that that was one of the pieces that came out of my healing journey. And I'm like, let's be honest, I'm still on it. But one of the pieces I've gained in my healing journey so far is that I have been able to get a level of rest. And the noise in my head about my body has really, really quieted. I had this weird realization the other day. I was at the grocery store and I had finished unloading my groceries and I was putting the cart back in the corral and I realized, oh, people probably see me and have opinions about my body. And I hadn't thought about that in ages.
It's amazing. Isn't that just like liberating?
Yes.
Just existing out in the world, just existing, like doing your thing, living your life. And I can guarantee you, with all of my friendships, I have never once looked at them and been like, they've gained weight or they're too fat to be my friend. Like, never have I ever. So, why would we talk to ourselves like that? Why would we think that about ourselves?
And I know for me, it was like a 5-year journey of like actively working on this to get to a place where my brain could rest and I could just eat what I need to eat to sustain my body without counting every calorie and thinking about every macro. Like, I'm so proud of myself. I've forgotten the calorie and macro counts on most foods. And I used to be able to like rattle that shit off about
So proud of you.
everything. I know, right? And with my eating disorder, I had anorexia that I unfortunately took to an extreme during my time in the military to maintain their like size restrictions because they weren't by height, they were by gender. So as a nearly 6 foot tall woman, my waist had to be smaller than a man who was, 5 feet tall, and my body struggled to maintain the size restriction. And so I developed horrible anorexia during that time. I had to work with a couple different professionals to recover from that. And it was actually that eating disorder recovery that introduced me to all of the anti diet culture movements, the health at every size movement, the all bodies are good bodies movement. And I will tell you, I am a lot
Oh,
happier
yeah.
living in my recovered body than I was in my eating disorder body that fit societal beauty standards. I didn't think that would happen.
I am so happy to hear that, though. I don't have, like, a big story like that, but I did have some very unhealthy diet culture habits, and it took I was there was actually a Facebook memory that popped up recently that it was from 2018. So that's kind of when I could pinpoint my journey starting. And it wasn't until there was like a pivotal moment in 2021, but we'll talk about that later. And then this last week, no, 2 weeks ago, there was a big moment, like a breakthrough that I had where I was like, I was really proud of myself for the progress that I had made. And it was like right before my period. And I was just feeling very bloated and fat and all of these like negative things. But I was like, hold up, hold up. We know fat's not a bad word. So why are you feeling bad for being fat? And I was like, okay, body, you're right. We don't think it's a bad word. So I had to figure out why I was feeling negative. And it's different than feeling fat. I was feeling negative about my body. I was feeling bloated. I was feeling uncomfortable and I was feeling emotional or hormonal. It may feel bad, but it's part of just being human, and accepting that part of my humanity was such a big like breakthrough for me. I don't know how else to explain that, but I sat with my feelings and I was like, okay, so why are you feeling this way? And I don't remember exactly what led me to feel this way, but I was able to identify it. And I was like, okay, well, there's the reason. What are some things that you know for sure are true? And I'm like, okay, well, let's list them. So I started listing things that I knew were true. So, for instance, the outfit that I was wearing that I was feeling uncomfortable in. Well, why am I feeling uncomfortable? Oh, because you know these pants are already a little tight anyway, and you're feeling bloated today. If I was wearing these pants during the follicular phase, I knew I would be feeling great in them, but I'm a little bit more bloated. So, obviously, I'm going to be feeling uncomfortable in them. It's just like identifying something like that. I'm like, okay, well, what can you do to change that? Well, you change into something that's a little bit more stretchy, something that's more comfortable, something tried and true. Okay, there you go. And by the end of that, what would have been a spiral, I was able to maintain it to like an internal dialogue of maybe 10 minutes, work through what I needed to, and then my day could just continue on. Like, that was such a big deal for me. I have never been able to do something like that before
That's
with the whole
amazing.
body neutrality, body acceptance.
I love that. All right. So your process was we're going to walk this back. Like, my body's not bad. Fat isn't a bad word. I'm feeling negative. Okay. Why am I feeling negative? Oh, it's because my clothes don't feel good on my body. Okay. I know that sometimes these clothes feel okay on my body. So it's just the time of the month. That's normal. Cool, cool. All right. What can I do about this? Let's put on something that feels good on today's version of my body. You just walked yourself through that. That's
Yeah.
beautiful.
I identified the problem, comforted myself, if you will, consoled myself, and then found a solution and resolved the rest of my day.
I love that. What a beautiful thing to be able to do. I want to say that the piece about like changing your outfit is so key. I did not have such an enlightened and evolved moment, but last week I was definitely bloated. I have lymphedema, so my body swells like up and down all the time. And I was having a really swollen day, and I had a really important meeting that day with my whole dissertation committee. And I had an outfit that I wanted to wear. So I put it on and it felt like shit on my body that day. It wasn't working. And so I pivoted. And to your point, like having those tried and true pieces, I just put on an outfit that like, it wasn't the one I had planned, but it felt good on my swollen body that day. And I walked out the door, I had my meeting, and a colleague told me my outfit looked great. I was like, see, you can come back.
I still think you followed the same procedures, maybe not the whole conversation that I had with myself, but you still followed the same steps to get to that resolve of like, okay, this is my day. Let's move on.
Well, thank you. And I think about that and how like after I changed my outfit and walked out the door, I didn't really think about it again. Whereas pre-recovery me would have been just bummed the whole day and I didn't get to wear the outfit I wanted and this body doesn't feel good and I guess that comes back to the neutrality or acceptance piece where you can get to a point with your body where even if it's not doing what you want it to do that day and even if you're bummed because you couldn't wear the outfit you picked out, like you can bounce back from that and go on and have a great day. And I did.
Yeah.
I went on and I had a great day. And I guess I'm curious if you would be willing to share, like how did you get from where you started to that moment you had where you were able to reflect and comfort yourself and move forward like that? Like that does not happen overnight. That doesn't happen without an enormous amount of intention and effort and probably blood, sweat, and tears. Like, what is the secret sauce? Like, how did you get there?
My story is not going to be a one size fits all, but you mentioned how at the beginning, you mentioned how your body from 10 years ago would judge the body you have now. And I feel very similar to that because 10 years ago, 10 ish years ago, I remember getting my first stretch mark on my stomach. And I had just gotten married and I had gained a lot of weight due to very sudden health issues and a lot of life stressors, and also just that marriage weight that people get sometimes. And I remember seeing the stretch mark on my stomach for the very first time, and it was this little pink line, and I was devastated. And I remember it ruining so many days of my life. And I remember there was a group of friends that I was hanging out with, and I was crying about it to them, like full on tears. And they were so encouraging and so nice. And after that, I got home and I was like, I don't want to be that person anymore. I don't want to be the person that when you're hanging out with friends only talks about her body getting fat. Like that was not a fun time. And I am a very positive person. So I didn't want to be that person. I didn't want to be that negative person anymore. And I think that was the start of my journey, but I didn't realize it yet. It's kind of a funny anecdote, but I think my story kind of starts the same way that I wanted to like buffalo wings. And you're like, how do those two align? But basically, I wanted to like buffalo wings so badly when I was younger that I forced myself to like buffalo wings. And same with coffee. And it was a long process. And now buffalo wings are like one of my favorite foods. There was a lot of the same determination with loving my body. I wanted to love my body so badly that I did with a lot of time and a lot of trial and error. Like I said, I think the real start of my body positivity, body acceptance journey started in 2018. We had just moved to a different city and I was, getting to know some people. I met this really sweet girl. We started going to the gym together and it was the first time I remember working out because I truly enjoy it. My goals at that time were still to get skinny, were still to be smaller, but I found joy in moving my body for the first time ever. It wasn't about punishing my body. And this is what I talk about with the trial and error is I did develop some very negative habits. So my biggest thing, like I think I was shielded from a lot of the super toxic things that I could have fallen into because of my background. But I think the biggest thing that I fell into was logging my food. I became so obsessive with it that it controlled every thought. It controlled how I shopped. I remember if we got anything from the store deli or the store bakery and it didn't have a barcode where I can log my food, I wouldn't eat it. And I would get mad if the barcode was ruined before I could scan. Like it was very unhealthy and I feel the memory of of that anxiety around food and eating coming back just talking about it. It was
Hmm.
not very pleasant. That's one of my biggest pitfalls, I guess. I finally had enough of that because I was like, I remember going to a friend's barbecue and I ended up bringing my own salad with my own vinaigrette, and I missed out on all of the food that smelled so good because I needed to eat this salad instead. Now, it was a good salad, but compared to what they were offering, and I just remember once again going home and I didn't want to live that way anymore. And after that, I kind of broke up with the app for logging my food because I
Mm.
was like, that's not the way to live. And then that was one step closer out of diet culture. And then in 2021, I wore a bikini to the beach, a two piece. And I was so tired of having two pieces only be like the high rise. Cause I was like, I don't care if my belly is showing. Like, I want a low cut two piece. And I finally found one and I wore it to the beach. And that was a big turning point for me as well. Cause I was like, this is what confidence feels like. This is what loving your body feels like. I don't remember what I ate that day. I don't remember who looked at me that day. I just remember going to the beach in my two piece, feeling absolutely amazing in the body that I have. And it was such a pivotal moment. And then in 2020, I want to say in 2022, I started Elle Em Art on accident. I was scrolling through Face or Instagram and I came across this account and it was basically encouraging you to look at your body as a work of art and to draw yourself in whatever style feels comfortable. So for her, she liked the more geometric and I can still picture what the painting looked like, but she drew herself in a geometric shape way. And I took out a canvas and I started sketching it out what I envisioned my body to look like. And I was like, when I finished it, it just ended up being the simple lines that I paint today. But I remember looking at it and crying and saying, this is me. I'm art. And I ended up doing a front and a back version of me. And they're both hanging up in my bathroom. And I look at them every single day and I still have those same emotions of like, that's me. I'm a work of art. And my body has changed since then. And I am definitely not the same person I was when I first started LM, but I can still look at those pieces and remember that I am a work of art. My body is beautiful and it deserves to exist.
I love that. And I love how for you, art played such a pivotal role in how you learned to see and reflect on and be with yourself. And I think that's one of the hardest things to do, like to like fully look in the mirror and fully take in what we see there and fully accept what we see there. Especially if we go through and I know not everyone will relate to this, but I know you and I went through sudden and unexpected body changes due to health issues. But and I think a lot of women eventually get there when they hit perimenopause unless they're, some people genetically do not have the same level of struggle and we love that for them. But a lot of women hit the age where perimenopause comes into play and their bodies do go through a really big shift. So I think that if this isn't something you've grappled with by the time you hit that age, like life is gonna life and you're gonna have to figure this out in a way that's healthy for you. And I think that people like you, Elle, who are kind of laying the groundwork for a generation, You're one of the people leading your generation toward not having a complete fucking breakdown in middle age when change inevitably occurs if it hasn't already. And I don't think that we have enough of a net to catch women because we feed them this, like you said, all these horrible lies through their childhood, through fucking puberty and adolescence and young adulthood. And then, you know, if you're not this certain way in your 20s and you're going to lose it by your 30s, and then, you know, perimenopause can hit in your 30s. And if it doesn't, it's coming in your 40s. So a lifetime built on trying to look a certain way and only accepting yourself and only believing you'll be accepted if you look a certain way, that can be a devastating blow. In middle age, particularly when your hormones shift and your body changes, if you haven't already experienced something like that by then. So I think that we set women up to just go splat. And one of the things I love so much about what you do is how you are providing a different option than going splat. You're providing open arms into a community of women who are realistic and loving and have a sustainable way of viewing their bodies and their lives.
One of the craziest things about the women who have seen my art is it varies from 30s, I would even say some 20s, but I think my target audience is about 30, mid 30s, which is my age, to the last show I did was probably like 50s, 60s. All of those range of women, that's a pretty big range. A lot of life lived, a lot of body changes that goes through that span of time. And it was so wild but inspiring to me when women saw my art and they would, at all different body sizes, like I said, all different ages, they will look at my art and they say, that looks like me. And that's what I want. Like, I want people to see themselves as a work of art in their body as it is now, because that is the body that we have. That's the body we have to take care of, regardless of, you know, I will say health issues. We do our best to take care of it, regardless of age. It's what our body deserves, is to be loved and to be treated right.
I think that this conversation goes very tender places. Probably for many of us. I know for me it does. You shared, you know, getting your first stretch mark. And in 2022, I was very ill. I was waiting for what ended up being a life-saving and life-altering surgery. And I have endometriosis, among other things. So my belly swelled up really badly. And I didn't know at the time that I also had appendicitis. And the only thing keeping it from bursting was the amount of scar tissue that had built up around it from the endometriosis. It was like compacting it and holding it from exploding. And I woke up from a nap one day and I went into the bathroom and I had stretch marks on my belly, on my really swollen belly. And I think I like screamed for my husband when I saw them. I was like, this has got to be burns, right? This has got to be from my heating pad. This wasn't here, and now suddenly it's here. And I thought it was the end of the world. And I'm never going to forget that day because we had Friendsgiving that night. My surgery was going to go, like, I was going to be recovering through Thanksgiving. So our friend group had very kindly arranged to do Friendsgiving with me before I left. I had to travel across the country for the specialist. Like we were just gonna be gone. And I remember just like bawling and thinking, how did I let this happen? What a horrible thing to say to yourself.
That
How
breaks
did
my
I
heart.
let this happen? And here's where it gets tender. The guy I dated before Kyle, he's not an evil person, but we're going to throw him under the bus just a little bit because he did do something that kind of fucked me up. Before we were a thing and we were just like in the talking stage, I guess is what the kids call it, we'd be like hanging out and I would notice him eyeing younger women. Like we were both solidly in our 30s and he was like checking out women who were definitely in their 20s. I know, I see your face, red flag, should have run, I know. He had redeeming qualities, which is why I
Oh,
didn't, and we weren't a thing. I
that
know.
sounds like
Real bad.
justification.
It is. I know. Not good. Should have run. Anyways, while I was with him, I was also in the military having the issues we talked about. And he kind of compounded it. I felt like I had to be like the tiny little 20 somethings to be good enough. So that drove my eating disorder into like even more dangerous territory. And I lost a lot of weight. And he commented one day and he was like, "Get your cute little body over here." And I was like very toxically pleased. I know it's so bad. And one day he told me he liked my little belly, like how I didn't really have one. And yeah, I know. All of the red flags. We are not together. We broke up. I
Good.
married someone wonderful instead. But this is part of my growth process post divorce, okay? There were some frogs in there. I know. And all I could think of when I saw those stretch marks was like how I had associated so much value with having a flat tummy because of not just culture, but like that one person's voice had been so influential in how I viewed myself, which is my own fault. I gave that voice way too much value. But I'm also a words person and like words stick with me. So I have to be very careful about that. And the people I allow around me because what they say will stick to me like super glue. I remember like I couldn't believe that they were stretch marks for days. I was like, these are just more burns. They're more burns from my heating pad because I used to do that all the time. All the people with endometriosis will know what I'm talking about. It's like a whole subculture. We're not fine. We burn ourselves with heating pads. And the time went by, the marks didn't go away. I had to accept that they were stretch marks. And it took so much work with my eating disorder recovery team to get to a place where I could accept that, yeah, my belly swelled up a lot and I've got some stretch marks from that.
And I think talking about belly stretch marks, it's an important thing to talk about. A lot of women can only accept their stretch marks in the regards of, well, I gave birth to the child, so therefore these are my like battle scars. And I love that for them, but there is more to love about your stretch marks than just that they helped you give birth. Because you and I have never given birth and we have stretch marks on our bellies, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. So it's crazy that I remember my first stretch mark. And now today, one of my favorite things is just like rubbing my belly and feeling the indentations of my stretch marks. If I could turn it into a painting, I would. I'm trying to make it happen, but so far unsuccessfully. But it's one of my favorite things, just like the texture of the stretch marks. And when I look at them or when I feel them now, it's my body protecting me. That's what it was
Mm,
doing. These
mm,
stretch marks are not a sign of me bringing life into the world. It's a sign of my body protecting me from everything that I've been through, whether it be health, life, mental health, personal struggles, whatever was happening. My body protected me. And I think that's the most beautiful thing. Like I look at my stretch marks like battle wounds, yes, but in a different way. Like it's what kept me safe.
I love that. I think that it's so important to talk about how stretch marks are only okay if you've had a baby societally. Like, thank you for saying that. I think, especially for those of us who can't have kids, it's like salt on the wound. Like, oh, I've got these stretch marks, but I don't have a baby for
Yeah.
them. And like, I didn't know how to handle that for the longest time. That was something that I eventually processed through. And here's the craziest thing. I eventually thought they were kind of cute. And
Cute.
they've faded over time because like they when they
They
pop up
will.
they're really bright, but then they fade. I had surgery, the swelling started to go down over years. Eventually they've mostly faded away, I guess. And I didn't realize cuz I healed enough that I stopped tracking them. I stopped like looking for them and being so offended by them. And one day I looked in the mirror and I was like, "Oh, they're gone-ish. Where'd they go? They're kind of cute."
Cute.
And I think it's just crazy how you can go from screaming out of shock when you see them to like, "Oh, they're gone ish." I got really used to them and I got to a point where like I was okay with them and then they left ish.
Making me like tear up over here because that's just so cute. And like so wholesome and beautiful. And that's how I want everybody to see their stretch marks wherever they are.
So as long as we're on the topic of like pregnancy versus no pregnancy and stretch marks and body changes, I think we need to talk about the bullshit that is bouncing back. And I know I didn't have a baby. I went through a life-altering illness, but I felt that pressure. And I know so many women who've had babies who feel that pressure. Like you go through something enormous, like an illness or making a life and birthing it. And everyone's like, oh, cool thing that you did surviving or giving birth. Now, when are you going to have your socially acceptable body back?
Exactly. I forget which person it was on Instagram, but they talked about why is it okay for my belly and my body to be big when it's carrying life, but the moment it leaves my body, it's no longer acceptable. But it broke my heart because I'm like, why? Why is it socially acceptable to be big and love the belly and love the stretch marks as long as there's a baby involved? And then as soon as it's earthside, okay, well, where's your body? Why isn't
Yeah.
it normal yet?
Yeah.
I wish I had answers.
And the harm women go through. Like, do you know
Mm,
how many women I know who birth a baby and then the minute they're cleared by their doctor, they're out there jogging with a stroller? And like, if you can do that safely, like, all of the power to you.
yeah,
Go do all of the things. But if your reason for pushing yourself that hard after you just spent 9 months growing a human and then pushed that thing out of you or had your belly sliced open and had that thing pulled out of you, like if you're out there pounding pavement because of shitty people's shitty thoughts about you, a remarkably heinous burden
yeah.
that we place upon women.
Mm. And it's different. I do want to put a caveat to that of like, if you truly enjoy moving your body in that way, you enjoy running and you want to continue that healthy lifestyle and you feel like finally I'm free from my doctor, that's great. But if the
Mm-hmm.
sole purpose is to just get smaller, that is such a heartbreaking thing to see.
Yes, especially when the body has been through so much
So
trauma.
much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that that piece also that you just said is an interesting thread to pull, like working out just to get smaller. And that's, I'll be honest, that was my primary reason for working out most of my life, except when I was in the military and I had to do fucking push ups. Then I worked out because I had to do push ups and I hate push ups so much, you guys. When people thank me for my service, what they're actually thanking me for is the fact that I had to learn how to do push ups and then maintain my ability to do push ups for so many years because I hate push ups. So, other than that, for most of my life, I worked out to be smaller.
Yeah.
And one of the things I love, like one of the ways I rest now, is that I move my body for joy and to retain muscle mass and to prepare for my older age and to protect my body. Like, I do not move my body to make it smaller. I
Yeah.
move my body to support it. I don't do the stupid shit I used to do, like CrossFit 2 times a day plus a 5 mile run.
Yeah.
I move it in ways that, like, to prevent injury instead of running at injury full speed.
That CrossFit 2 times a day will definitely cause some injury.
Speaking of cults, I was once a part of.
Oh,
Sorry, all of the CrossFitters.
I
We
know.
love you
Sorry.
too.
Sorry. No, but with working out, I've been hesitant to share that I work out because I do feel like there is kind of a negative, I don't want to say stigma, but I can't think of a better word in the body positivity community of, well, if you love your body, then why are you working out? And because naturally, if you
Mm.
work out, you will get smaller to a point. And I've been very like, so this is my like coming out essentially. I have been very nervous to share my working out, but it's something that I'm really proud of because it has given me another layer of confidence because the things I could do in that gym, I am so proud of myself. And there are things that I didn't think I could do. And I do dance 2 times a week, and I suck at dancing, guys. We grew up in a cult, okay? We didn't
Yeah, we don't
dance. Like,
dance. We don't
and on
dance.
top of that, like, Amanda, you know this, I do not have solid rhythm. I might get a couple beats here and there, but I do not have rhythm. So the fact that I do dance is so like I literally just laugh my way through, but I have so much fun. And it has been so freeing and it's given me so much more confidence as well. And then I do weights so far just 1 time a week because I'm busy. But that has been amazing for me as well. Like the level of confidence that you do get by working out. But my goal in the gym is not to get smaller. My
Mhm.
goal is to see what I can do. Like that's been my favorite thing. I love painting on the floor and I'm 34. Painting on the floor is not easy. Your joints hurt, you have to get up off the floor, and since I've been working out, like, I can paint on the floor and it's enjoyable again. So that's been a huge win for me, something as small as that. That's why I work out. And so I wanna also talk about the side of body positivity that's kind of toxic a little bit, and why I do find myself more in the body acceptance camp. Um, because with body positivity, it's like you have to love, and I'm not saying this for everybody. I've just seen an increase of it a little bit. Um, Whereas if you love your body, if you're body positive, then you cannot change your body. Otherwise, you don't really love it. And I feel like that's a shame because that takes away the reason why it exists. You know, the reason it exists is to create a space for people with all different body types, skinny, fat, disabled, whatever, to come into a space and be able to encourage each other and love their bodies and have a space to celebrate the differences between bodies and to have the negative side of it of like don't change your body because if you change your body you don't actually love your body and you're betraying the movement. Like it's so unrealistic. So for anybody who is listening who is working out with no intention of losing weight, keep doing that because that is exactly what we need.
And I think that there's also freedom in the options that provides. Like when I was working out only to lose weight, I had a very strict idea of what that meant. And it wasn't like sometimes it was fun and enjoyable and I looked forward to it, but like mostly I didn't. It just hurt a lot. And I think one of my favorite things about the way I move now is that it feels good to my body. And some of it's simple stuff. So I now have chronic orthostatic intolerance. It's like POTS. So I have to be very careful. I can faint easily and you know things like that. I have to be very careful about the types of movements I do. So how I work out has necessarily changed. And one thing I've been doing lately that I'm just in love with, I was driving to campus one day and I saw a guy out in our neighborhood walking with a cup of coffee. And I was like, why didn't I think of that? I like walking, I like coffee. Why have I never put these together before?
Love
What is
that.
wrong with me? So I started going out with my coffee and just having a beautiful walk. And then I got my husband on it. And now we do it together sometimes. And it's just so great. And I never would, that never would have counted. That never would have been
Yes.
enough of a workout before. But let me tell you, like, I can move and I get my heart rate up and my coffee's
Yeah.
delicious. And it's like, I don't know, I feel like a fully grown adult walking around with my cup of coffee in the neighborhood. Like, I don't, it feels so grown up, guys. Try it sometimes. Let me know your thoughts in the comments.
I'm gonna try that.
But it's like, it's so fun. And that never would have been an option. That never would have been enough because I had to run and it had to be like 5 miles minimum.
I remember when I was working out to be smaller, if my body didn't hurt when I left the gym, I didn't work hard enough.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That's
If I,
so damaging to your body.
yeah. One of my CrossFit gyms, it was like, if you can get in and out of your office chair after our workout, something's wrong. You didn't work hard enough. And I would push myself so hard. Like my colleagues would come, like, oh, Amanda's here. She's going to try to sit down. Let's all watch. Ha 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 ha. Because I would be like hanging on to furniture trying to walk to my office. And then like sitting down and standing up was so difficult. I felt so good because that meant I was working hard enough and I was doing it right. And I was a morally upright person because I was working
Mm.
out. And the military reinforced that like nobody's business that the
Yeah.
people with the best character were the ones who, you know, worked out the hardest and could run the fastest. And so I think I entered my time in the military with an unhealthy view of everything. And then just the pressure in the military exacerbated all of it. And I went to such unhealthy places during that time, you know, because if I wasn't working out, you know, to the point of crashing and burning, then I wasn't a good enough person.
Like that you brought in the morality of it all. I've got some thoughts. Being fat does not make you morally wrong. It does not make you lazy. It does not make you dirty. It does not make you a horrible person. Being fat is just being fat, just like being skinny. It does not have any moral weight.
I'm going to tell you one of my saddest stories that I have about me and my body. So Kyle and I eloped because I was too ill to like plan a whole wedding when we wanted to get married. So we eloped, just the two of us, a photographer, and the state we got married, your dog can be your witness. So our dog was our witness and his paw print is on our marriage certificate. And like loved
Yes.
those memories. It was this is the part where like I'm still learning how to think about and speak about this in a way that's like healthy. But that was while I was still I was already in eating disorder recovery, but like it was pre drastic body change because of illness. So I'm sure I thought I was fat at the time, but I wasn't thinking about that. The day that we eloped, I was just so happy. And we got married on the side of a mountain in a fucking blizzard. The pictures were incredible. Like, just fairy tale. So I get really, really sick, have this surgery. I'm not recovering. I'm not recovering. They're like, oh, you also have this and this and this and this. And we had planned a wedding celebration with friends and family for the following year. So that would have been 2023. And so, in the midst of finding out that I need to be on like heart medication for the rest of my life, I am killing myself in the gym because we have this wedding coming up. And I knew I was being unhealthy at the time, but I didn't go back into my eating disorder. So that was like how I told myself I was good. Cause like I wasn't going back into my eating disorder. I was just, you know, working out in a way that wasn't healthy or safe or sustainable given what was going on with me medically. But, you know, we had this wedding coming up and the day of the wedding came around and I remember sitting there in my dress before the ceremony started thinking like, why the fuck did I agree to this? Cause now I just feel so bad about myself and I have to go out there in front of all of these people who haven't seen me in years because I've been so sick. Like I haven't been traveling, I haven't been socializing. I've just been like trying not to die over here and going to physical therapy and going to medical appointments. They haven't seen me. They haven't seen my body in its current state with the lymphedema. I'm going to walk out there and they're all going to be disappointed in me and think I'm a bad person. And the whole day, I had to like coach myself through that whole day. Like, all bodies are good bodies. Your body's the least interesting thing about you. Like, try to be present. It doesn't matter what people think of you. This is about you and Kyle. And God bless him. Kyle was amazing. And like, he got me through that day. He didn't know what was going on inside my head. We didn't debrief that till much later, but he like really showed up for me that day and literally like wrapped me up in his arms through that day and like got me through it. But I look back on that and I'm like, oh my God, how sad that that's the thing I was so stressed out about. Like what people would think of when they saw me and how I thought they would perceive my morality and my character based on how my body was presenting that specific day.
Breaks my heart. That's the problem with like diet culture and this like rise of skinny again is the amount of moments that are ruined and stolen because we're so obsessed with how we look or how we think other people are going to perceive us. There's so much to celebrate about our individual bodies. Like, I love, okay, I don't love people watching because I'm not nosy, surprisingly, but I love just kind of like going to a spot and looking at the body diversity in this in the space. And I love seeing it. And I encourage you to like do a little bit of people watching and just see how much diversity is out there. Being an artist, I look at the lines and like I look at folds and loose skin and cellulite and stretch marks, and I love seeing that. There's so much out there to celebrate, and it breaks me to know that moments are ruined because we don't think we are good enough in the body that we have.
And I think that that's the future that you're
Mhm.
building towards and that I'm trying to contribute to as well. A future where people can exist safely in their bodies and know that they will be seen and accepted for who they are and that people won't attach lies and assumptions to their views of a person based solely on what their body looks like that day or that year or that decade. I think something that's been helpful for me is educating myself more about bodies and how they work and how they fluctuate and how that's normal and hormones and especially for women like the impact of hormonal cycles and hormonal changes. I think that going through a lot of medically induced, like sudden and drastic body changes has given me a lot more empathy and compassion. And like I said at the beginning, I'm ashamed to admit some of the thoughts I used to have, but I used to look at someone who lived in a fat body and think that they just needed to make better choices. And now
Same.
I look at people in all bodies and I'm like, well, part of it being chronically ill, you can pick out like, oh yeah, they're on that medication probably. And oh yeah, they're look at the way they're moving. They probably also have that diagnosis. Like it just makes me a lot more compassionate and aware. And I am way more likely to attribute body diversity to the facts than to something judgmental. And sometimes the facts are just someone's body is genetically predisposed to be a larger size. And guess what? There is literally nothing they can do about it. And it's okay. That body deserves to exist as it is. And that person deserves to live in a world that is accepting of their absolutely fine body. And I hope I'm saying that well. Like it's coming from a place of love and respect in my heart. I hope I'm articulating it well. Please feel free to like edit it for me, Elle.
No, I think that's perfect. I used to judge bigger bodies as well because that's how we were taught.
Yeah.
I remember having a relative put a picture of when they were at their skinniest, before kids, before life. I don't really know how old they were, but it was a pretty good chunk of time in between. And I remember them taping that picture up and they would look at it every day and they would be wanting that body back. And, you know, I'm 5'9", so I'm pretty tall for a girl as well. And I've always been more curvy, and paired with that and this photo of a relative pinned to their mirror of like, this is what I want to look like one day, that started that stigma of my body is already not good enough from the get go. And having to unlearn that now that I'm in my 30s, I'm realizing that this is not normal to want to have the body of, let's just say, my 20-year-old self. Something that I learned over time, something that I learned to hate about a bigger body, like to not want it. And breaking that stigma and like relearning has been the most challenging and also the most freeing. And I wish everybody could experience it because it's so empowering, and learning about your body connects you with it, sick or not. It's connected me with my body, and it helps me know the cycles that you were talking about. Just learning how everything works. It just, we can tie it back to just the body in and of itself is such an amazing thing. And we deserve to give our body more love and acceptance than societal pressure allows us to.
Yeah. I think something you've said multiple times today, and I think I've echoed, is that piece around freedom. Like, I think that a lot of people are scared to go on this journey because we don't know what's on the other side. All we've been told is that if you go through that door, then you let yourself go, and all of the other horrible lies that we grew up with. What so many people don't realize is that there's just immense freedom and joy and like options on the other side that don't exist when you are living within diet culture and trying to, be part of the nothing tastes as good as skinny feels crowd.
Love the way you worded that.
I feel like we could talk about this for another 2 hours. So we might need to do like a follow-up episode because I think that there are so many more topics around like, I know for me, one of the most powerful things I did was finally let go of older clothing. That was part of
Yeah.
my, that was my version of pinning a picture to my mirror. And I definitely grew up with my mom and grandma just having immense body shame and passing that along to their daughters and granddaughters, and the rules around what we could wear, how everything was about dressing to look slimmer. And there are so many patterns to this day that like I avoid, and I don't even know if I should be, like if I don't like them because I don't like them, or if I don't like them because I was told they would make me look fat. Like even the thing I mentioned earlier about my hair and how I wear it curly now, but I didn't growing up because I was told it made my face, like I have a round face just naturally, no matter what size my body is, my face is round. And I was told it makes my face look rounder, so I shouldn't do that. And like all of this shit, right? That you're left with in adulthood, that to your point, I don't think we're born believing. I think we pick up these belief systems and then unfortunately they stick to us and they shape decades. I spent decades worrying about everything that went into my body and every inch of my body and measuring it and working it and trying to make it conform to, whatever society said it needed to be in that decade.
And it changes every
It
decade.
changes. Like we said before, it's a moving target. You can never ever win. So I think like everybody chime in the comments if you would like a deeper discussion of this, or a continuation maybe is a better way to put it, of this conversation, because I feel like there are so many more threads we can pull. And I feel like this is such a ubiquitous issue among particularly women. I have met very few women in my lifetime who are untouched by body image issues. And I'm, again, just so grateful for you and the work you do to show people that, hey, you can get off that road. Like, here's an exit. Please take it. It's a beautiful oasis over here.
There's so much more life on this side.
Yeah. So thank you so much for your time and for sharing and for the work you do. Can you share with people how they can connect with you and interact with your art and get to know you better?
Yes. So I am on Instagram at Elle Em Art. And then on TikTok, they're sporadically at lm.art. Working on a website. It's not up yet, but we will get there this year. And to connect, I always encourage shares, comments, likes, because that will help get the word out to other people who might need to see this message.
And I will make sure I post your handles for Instagram and TikTok in the episode description so folks can connect with you. Definitely find Elle on the social media platform of your choice and follow her. She posts reels with canvas reveals. You have some some
I
funny
have
ones out there
some
too.
fashion ones, some funny ones, and I like to yap. So there's always going to be some sort of video with me yapping. So
I love it. I love it so much. Well, I watch all of them religiously, by the way. I learn a lot from you, and every time you release a new piece, I'm so excited. They're all so beautiful. And I have a beautiful piece by Elle that's in my bathroom now, and I just love it, and I look at it every day. So thank you for that. It brings me a lot of joy. Well, what is the one thing you want people to remember as we close out this episode today? We will end on that note. What do you want people to carry forward when they think about their bodies?
take up the space, whether that be with your personality, your body. For me, it's given me the permission to be real with myself and let my true colors shine. As awkward and quirky as they are, I love it. So I'm going to encourage you to do the same, to just take up that space and give yourself permission to be free.
Thanks for spending this time with me. Take what you need, leave the rest, and keep moving in the direction of your healing. If this episode resonated, share it with someone who needs it. That's how we all find each other. Subscribe to The Healing Life wherever you listen, and I'll see you in the next episode as the journey continues.